Hi guys, Jeff Quiros here with another episode in my continuing saga of my life as an artist. Today I'm going to get into college days some more. College part 2. I went to UC Davis, University of California at Davis, from 66 till 71, and that was the heyday of the UC Davis art department. And but today I want to take a little bit of a tangent and get into the radio and music world that I experienced while I was there. I always wanted to be a disc jockey, and I heard there was a campus radio station back when I was a freshman. And so I signed up for that and became a disc jockey. And at that point in time, the campus radio station was called KCD, and it was not really a transmitting radio station. It was, they used what's called a slave transmitter, and it went just to the dormitories in the around the whole campus. It was like hardwired to the dormitories. And the studios were located in the basement of a dormitory. You had to walk through the laundry room, past the washing machines and everything, back to a utility closet, and our studio was inside there. Very, very small. Anyway, to say the least. After a year or so with KCD, we got our FM transmitting license. We worked quite hard on that. A guy named Ken True was the chief engineer, and he really did most of the work to get the license and get the transmitter set up. So we had a 13-mile broadcasting radius at that point in time, and we became KDVS. And we moved our studios to the basement of Freeborn Hall, a large auditorium on campus, and that was fantastic. We had these multi-room studios, state-of-the-art at the time. Fantastic situation there. So we really came of age at that point. And that was, during those days, it was the Top 40 radio was all it was about. KDVS, the sound of success in Davis, California. Anyway, that was my DJ voice. And after a couple of years, I became the music director of the station, and was responsible for the musical content and all the setting up the what was going to be played and getting us music, which was a key thing. College radio stations were not being sent promo copies of music very often, and so I got a relationship with a guy named Bill Gavin, who turns out to be a very famous guy in music history. And he had published a newsletter, which was the up-and-coming hits, and it turned out to be his newsletter was a subscription-only thing, and he made his living by picking the hits, and he turned out to be an icon. This guy was, when he picked a hit, it became a hit. He began to kind of dictate to the industry and was very well thought of at the time. Anyway, we liked each other, we took a shine to each other, and he was very kind and gave me introductions to the record companies, and the record companies started sending us promo records, and we began getting probably thousands of records a week before we were getting nothing. Anyway, great little bit of history there. During that time, the radio industry kind of moved to alternative rock, and KZAP radio and KSAN, that was in Sacramento, and KSAN radio in San Francisco became very popular, and that was kind of the laid back, not top 40 at all, play the whole side of an album kind of laid back radio. And most of the DJs wanted to go to that, and I was kind of sticking with top 40 as much as I could. And anyway, the station kind of ended up doing both for a period of time, but it was a kind of a seminal moment in the history of radio there. And anyway, in getting back to art a little bit and more music, in June of 1967, our dormitory decided to put on a rock concert. And we hired Quicksilver Messenger Service, which was a huge San Francisco band, and the Loading Zone, which was less well known at the time, but still a major San Francisco sound group, to do a show. And I did the poster, and I was pretty proud of that. As a matter of fact, the original Tower Records in Sacramento plastered their walls with this poster, and was up there for years. This poster went all the way around the perimeter of the record store. Anyway, so that was my little moment of fame at that point with my artwork. I also went to probably over 100 of the San Francisco rock concerts at Fillmore Auditorium and the Avalon Ballroom and various other venues run by Chet Helms and the Family Dog and Bill Graham, and saw all kinds of bands perform. Between that and working for the campus radio station doing interviews, I ended up meeting quite a few of these now iconic artists, and have stories to tell. I interviewed Janis Joplin one time, and I still think about that quite a bit. I wish I had that tape. It's long since lost, but that was a big moment in my life. And 2 years, that was in 1968. Within a little bit over 2 years after that interview, she ended up dying of an overdose. Anyway, I interviewed Alvin Lee from 10 years after. Less well known, but just an extremely talented musician. Incredible thing. I hung out with the Grateful Dead a little bit, Buffalo Springfield. Gosh, I met quite a few people back in those days. And it all seemed pretty normal and just kind of usual for for being around at that point in time and that part of my life. But it was very interesting. Anyway, I sure hope you enjoyed hearing some of my anecdotes from the 60s, and I'll get back to more of my artwork and what else happened when I was in college at UC Davis next time. In the meantime, please give me your comments below. I love hearing from you. Buy my artwork. That would be wonderful too. Tell your friends. Share this video. And have a good day. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.